Well, my name is Edwin.
And I'm Joslyn, and this is
The Long Overdue, a show about libraries.
And each episode, we will feature a special guest in a short conversation,
focusing on the Sul Library and beyond. Today's guest is Andrew DeLeon. Andrew is a somewhat recent graduate of Sul, a previous employee of the library, and now works in student support services as a retention specialist. Andrew grew up in Roscoe, Texas, and loves sports, playing a part in the Ultimate Frisbee team, as well as participating in cross country during his undergraduate career.
And we just learned that he's working on his master's in sports administration. Is that right?
Yes, that's
so cool.
Awesome.
Well, Andrew, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. We're so glad you're here. We heard you're a big fan.
I am a big fan. I think it's really cool that that y'all are putting this together, and I really enjoy the episode, so I'm happy to be here.
That's so nice. We're so glad you're here.
Yeah, man.
Sure. I was going to ask you something before we got into the questions. How's your summer going so far?
Oh, it's good. It's been pretty eventful. Been getting out of Alpine a little bit, but also enjoying Alpine as much as I can. This is, I believe, my third summer being here.
Oh, cool.
So nice. I do enjoy it. The summers here are nice. They're very hot, but we recently had a little bit of a storm, so it's nice. Just staying busy.
Yeah, I'm seeing lots of greenery that I didn't expect to see because of the rain that we've gotten. I guess it was last week that we had a few little sprinkles. It's nice.
It is very nice, and Balmeray is just right down the road, so we've been making a couple trips there. So
going swimming.
Mm-hmm.
Very nice.
Get your laps in.
Yep.
Very nice. All right, you want to start with the questions, Edwin?
Yeah, sure. So, Andrew, the first question we've got for you is, what do libraries mean to you?
Wow. I would say that, first off, libraries are essential. I think books have different meaning to everybody, and I know that in my undergraduate career, I didn't care for the books. I didn't care for the library, and that's just how certain individuals are. Mm-hmm. To me, the library was just somewhere to work and study, but once I grew past my undergraduate and I was working on I'm working on it right now currently, my master's in sports administration, I have found that libraries are also just a haven where I can go to read and enjoy the peace and quiet and find literature, find past artists and authors who do something for us. So I've found that libraries have a lot of meaning, and it's just that some people don't always see that, and that's to each his own. And I found, to me, that libraries are very peaceful, a remedy to the soul, and also can just allow me to learn a lot.
Very, very spiritual response.
That was so eloquent. Excellent answer. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Well, and even if all you're using the library for is just as a space to study, I mean, that's part of why it exists, so.
It's literally that space that some students just can't find, like in their own home, in their own dorms. Just it provides that nice little space.
Yeah.
No, I definitely agree, because I think now I'm starting to see to where the library is not just used for that, but also a getaway. Instead of studying, it's that peace that you don't have at home. And I think it's becoming more popular now than it has been in the past.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, just with how hot it's been recently, I've been like looking forward to being in the library in the afternoons because it's so hot at my house. Mm-hmm. That like just using the library as a cool place to hang out and like endure the elements. I mean, even if it's not anything more than that for you, like that's why the library is there. So yeah, I definitely think it's libraries all over, especially public libraries, are rising in their popularity just as a space to exist without spending money and chill out, relax.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I've recently picked up books again. Yeah. I didn't read too much, but I have picked them up again. So the libraries where they're home to those books, that's why I'm on that trend word of liking them as much, because as I grow more in my literature and reading, how it's a joy to me, libraries provide me that. So.
Aw, I love that.
Definitely.
And we'll talk more about books that you're reading a little later. Yeah. Edwin always does such a good job of tying your answer together to ask the next one, so I'll let you do the next question too.
You're going to let me do the next question as well?
Yes, I'll let you.
All right, Andrew.
You're so welcome.
Now that you've grown in your view of like what a library means to you, from how you looked at libraries when you were an undergrad to now that you're a full employee here at Soros as well as a graduate student, what does our library specifically mean to you?
Oh, that's a really hard question. But no, I mean, it's a library that has shaped my view of a library. It's what's molded me to this liking and trend of wanting to be more involved in the library. And seeing right now, currently this podcast, and seeing everything that the library has done in the past year, it's seeing what the library has done here specifically has shown me that why I have this liking for them, why I want to keep placing myself as much as I can in the library. And this library specifically, the environment is, I can say that I can't find it anywhere else. You're welcomed by some great workers at the front, and you're in an environment where you feel welcome. You do whatever you want, whatever you need. And even if it's just to sit and look at the view that Alpine provides, or if it's to look at the books that the library provides, if it's to go talk to somebody in the office, this specific library has so many unique qualities to it that I really can't put it into a sentence, but it's something that I will take away from Alpine as a high quality of Soros.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another great answer. Wow.
Yeah, definitely.
So well spoken.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think that our library, even if it isn't, where you can find your favorite books, we do have a lot of wonderful books and basically everything that you could want. And if not, you can interlibrary loan any items that you need from other libraries.
Yeah.
Shout out to Mike.
Shout out to Mike.
But yeah, just going up to the third floor and looking out the windows, like that to me is so special and something that I don't think you can do in any other building on campus. Like, because of the way that we're facing, we can see Twin Sisters, we can see McDonald's.
The horrible McDonald's sign.
No, but like how much you can see from the third floor in every angle. Like, I'm sure there's other buildings on campus that are like that, but nothing where you're like as welcomed and it's totally cool for you to be there and just take up time and take up space. So, great answer.
No, I definitely agree. I definitely think it's one of the only places on campus where you have that. And I mean, I've been in other buildings. I've been coming here to Soros for the past couple of years, and no, it's definitely something completely different here at the library.
I love that.
Definitely.
Our next question is, what's your history with libraries? So what we mean by that is like maybe what was your first exposure to libraries? How did you use libraries as a kid? Did you go to the public library? Did you like your school librarian? Things like that.
So I would say that my first library experience that I can remember was back at home. My mom would take us, and me not being really into literature, me not wanting to read, I would just go find the origami section.
Nice.
And I would always try to find my way over there to try to figure out how to make the swan, how to make the best ninja star. And I was always sneaking that way. And then my mom would try to tell me to get a book that I actually have to read. And I never ended up taking a book away that I actually read. It always tended to be the origami one. But no, for the first years while I was exposed to a public library and actually going there because my parents took me, I never really dove into reading. I just went there, and my parents would take the time to read there, but I would be spending my time looking for the fun books, the colorful books, because for me, growing up, I wasn't really too inclined to reading. I think as I was growing up, I had two older brothers, and they started to get these laptops and these phones, so I was more attracted to those. I more wanted to read those and play with those, and rather than pick up a book that seemed to me like a dinosaur. And but it wasn't until maybe my high school, whenever we had a class where we sat in the library, and it was study hall, and we were responsible for doing our homework, and if we didn't do our homework, we were to read or act like you're doing homework. That's what everybody did.
Yeah.
Because nobody wanted to read.
Definitely.
And so since we're in the library and we had that availability to these books, I grew a relationship with the librarian. I started to talk to them because I would finish my homework, and I didn't want to fake doing homework for that period, so I would just talk to them, and then they recommended me some books. They would always show me these books that had so much meaning to them.
Definitely.
And so I took the experience on of reading one of those same exact books, and I was stuck. I couldn't get out of reading that book. Every period I was trying to finish it, and it took me just the week that she gave it to me, and I finished it, and I was so excited to read the next one and find out what the author's got coming out next, how like the story continues, and I was just so, I guess, stuck in, like, I did not want to stop reading these books, and from then on, that's whenever I kind of started to pick them up. But then once I came here to Sul Ross, I didn't continue that trend. I guess I was so nervous for completing my degree that I put away something that really helped my mental health, and it wasn't until afterward I realized that.
What was the series that you were reading in school?
Oh, I wish I could tell you.
Oh.
It was, I know. I feel like a bad fan for not being able to remember.
That's so funny.
Bad fan.
It was a murder mystery, and I'm sure if my teacher was here, she'd be able to tell you on the spot who it was. But it was a murder mystery novel, and the author spinned off of that novel and wrote about different sections of it, different parts of it, different stories behind each person.
Mm-hmm.
And the only thing I remember from that story is just that the ending was a big twist, and
Ooh, okay.
those endings always leave me excited because I was
Yeah.
like, I have to know what happens next, and I don't know what happens next. So
Dang. Well, I wrote a note because I wanted to try to figure out what
Try
the
to find
series
the
might
book.
have been. Yeah, because that sounds great.
It does actually. Yeah.
And librarians are so wonderful at recognizing when students are reluctant readers and finding books that fit those students. So you mentioned the origami books that you would find when you were a kid. I'm sure you were reading those books. They probably had instructions that were written. So it really doesn't matter what you're reading as a kid. If you're reading anything, it's going to help your brain develop. So whenever I was teaching, I would have parents pretty often be like, all my kid wants to read is graphic novels or comic books, and I want them to be reading real books. And I'm like, okay, yes, I see where you're coming from, but so many graphic novels and comic books are designed with reluctant readers in mind to grow their vocabulary, grow their storytelling understanding, to help students be able to kind of follow the path of a story. And having to explain that to parents and being like, well, if they're liking what they're reading, it's fine.
Yeah.
Anyway.
No,
So yeah, you were reading, and that's great. And it's also really important for kids to see their parents reading, their caretakers reading, as a activity of enjoyment, right? Not necessarily as part of work or for studying, but it's so vital that kids see their parents reading and enjoying it so that they can enjoy it too. So even though you weren't reading like books that your parents approved of, you were still reading, and obviously you were growing your brain because you are so intelligent. I've heard that you
Thank
finished
you.
your undergrad degree in like 2 years.
Yeah, the school, I don't say that I'm intelligent. I don't want to take the credit for that.
Okay.
The high school I went to, we do dual credit.
Yeah.
And we start as a freshman, and you graduate with your associate's degree. So once I came here, and given that I started school at an early age, so when I graduated high school at 17, I came here and graduated at 19. So it was just due to the acceleration that the high school gave me, and I just took care of business when I got here. I knew that they paid for the first 2 years, and I want to get out of here in the next 2. So I took care of it, and then now I'm doing my master's as a full-time employee here.
I love that.
Yeah. Very.
You're very if you don't
take
want to say
charge.
you're intelligent, you're very dedicated and you're
Yeah.
a hard worker.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, no, that's definitely true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dedicated, hard worker, and it paid off really well. Yeah.
Mhm. I
Well,
think so.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And
Yeah.
I remember while I was doing those 2 years, I was a tutor here in the library
Mhm.
Yeah.
before I was a full-time employee in the library. And I remember at that time I would be tutoring, and then Edwin was working in the library as well.
Yeah.
And I remember just always having those conversations with Edwin and just with the other tutors and mentors there. And
Yeah. Like
it was,
Andrew always had good conversations with almost everybody that walked in.
Nice.
Like especially when like NFL would come up, he would always have a conversation with Cindy about
Yeah,
the game.
I was gonna
Yeah.
say.
They'd
I
always
know
be
that you
ready to
always talk about
about it.
sports.
Yeah,
Mhm.
they'd always be ready to talk
Cindy.
about it.
I love that.
I cannot stop talking about that, especially with Cindy. It's
Yeah,
always
no.
I can always talk to her about that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
she's so into sports. You just mentioned one player, and she has like all of these like pros and cons, and why she
Yes.
hates them or why she loves them.
Yep.
Mhm.
It's
A
pretty
great soul.
entertaining.
Great
Yes.
soul.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
All right,
Next
so
question?
what would you say is the coolest library you've been to?
Unbiased, I will say this library.
Oh,
All right, there you go.
Not because
Nice.
I'm on the podcast or anything. But no, I would say probably this library. My high school library was okay. My public library back at home was okay. They were both great, but I don't think anything comes close to this library.
Wow,
Very-
that's so nice.
Very sweet, yeah.
That's so nice. I disagree, but that's
Oh.
okay. We've already talked about
And
our
she
favorite
works there.
libraries, and I do work there, and I like working there, and I like the library. It's great. It's a wonderful space. But I've been to some libraries that are cooler. But
That makes sense. I think it's probably just the meaning the library has to me.
yeah,
Yeah, definitely.
I like that. I like that. Okay. So, Soros is the coolest library you visited, but if you could imagine your dream library, what would the space look like? What would it have? What books would it have? What other materials might it feature? Build your dream library.
Dream library.
Mhm.
The first thing I thought of was in Harry Potter when they have the library and they're going through it and the book comes alive at them and tries
Oh.
to. That's the first thing I thought of. I don't know why.
You want
But-
living books in your
Yes,
library.
living
Okay,
books.
cool.
No, but I'd have to say something similar to Sol Ross's library where it's open, like on the first floor. I really enjoyed that. But if it continued upward where it had a view just like Alpine's and the books continued to bring out, I would say just like every genre. Like I don't want to limit it to just one, but I would say a library, which that's what makes a library, I guess, the bigger library so good is because they have every book in every genre. And it would be too hard to say that would be something I would like. I say the ideal library has every book in every genre, and it has an open environment, and it also has an environment where if somebody didn't want the openness, they can go there. And it also provides the comfortability for everybody to go and do their own, to each his own, and be happy in the library, read something they want to read, be comfortable, and just be in an environment where they feel welcome.
That basically is the Sol Ross library.
Yeah, almost.
The only thing I would change about our library to make it my dream library would be the lighting. I would get rid of the overhead fluorescents and put lamps everywhere.
Just lamps everywhere.
Just lamps or like sconces or something. Fluorescents hurt my eyeballs. Give me headaches. But I think even if you turned off, maybe we'll turn off the fluorescents when we go back to the library
Oh, yeah,
today.
sure.
And we'll just see how bright it is because there's so many windows.
Yeah,
It would probably be
Very true.
bright enough.
bright enough.
We'll try it.
We'll see.
We'll try it, but yeah.
Yeah,
I
know-
like that answer.
I know that those fluorescent lights are supposed to be not too healthy. Like they can hurt. So I think I'll go back and change my answer and put lamps as well.
I like it. I like it. Subtle lighting, like the green desktop lamps,
The
like
green
a banker's
desktop.
lamp, right? That you like imagine at like traditional libraries.
Just provide everyone with their own little readers you attach to the books. Comes a little light.
Sure.
I remember those.
Whatever works. I like those. Okay, ready?
All right, so we touched about this earlier, but what is your favorite book? Plus, what are you reading now?
Favorite book and what am I reading now? Well, I'll start with what I'm reading right now. I just finished a health book and it was on managing people.
Okay.
And I'm also reading I think the third book in the Harry Potter series.
Nice.
So, because I did not read them.
Prisoner of
growing up.
Azkaban?
Yes.
Nice.
You enjoy Harry Potter?
I read all the books, seen all the movies. J.K. Rowling is canceled. We'll say that for sure. But I don't know, the books and the movies, I grew up with them, so they are these comfort objects for me for sure. But yeah, I think I'd like to reread the books.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm reading them for the first time, and I really do enjoy.
I'm so happy for you. I saw all the movies before I read the books, and then when I read the books, it was just like, I think I finished the whole series in a month. And I'm a slow reader, so that was a good time in my
It really
life.
captivated you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they're children's books, right? So they're not challenging to read, but you just feel good when you read them, and you feel everything that Harry's feeling. Whenever you get to the 5th book, I'm sorry, it's a stressful book.
It's
Yeah.
a stressful book. Yeah.
I'm not excited for that.
Yeah, but it's important. You can't skip it. So
Okay,
sorry.
I won't skip it.
But we can complain together if you need to.
Okay, thank
Yeah,
you.
Of course.
I know where you're at.
Yeah,
There you go.
come find me.
Yeah, I know that the first 2 books went by really fast for me, and I'm a
Yeah.
slow reader as well.
And they just get fatter as you go.
Yeah, this third book's a little thicker.
Yeah.
But I'm getting through it pretty quick too. But no, it's
The 4th one is one of my favorites. Have you seen the movies?
Yes.
Okay, so Goblet of Fire with all the challenges and stuff.
Yeah.
That one's a really fun one. I like that
I'm
one.
excited to read that one because that's probably the one I enjoyed the most out of the movies. So
there's just so much going on in there, and like, it's fun. It's good.
Mm-hmm.
The fifth book. You've seen the movies, so I won't spoil anything. But like, nobody believes Harry, and it pisses me off.
Oh yeah, that is the most stressful part about that point in that story is that at first everybody started supporting and believing him, and then fifth book arrives, and that's like, oh no.
That's my least favorite type of conflict is like interpersonal conflict that has to deal with like not believing each other, miscommunications and things like that. So it was just a stressful book to read. Plus he's taking all of his tests and stuff, and you're just like, oh my god.
Funny enough, I actually loved the tests portions of that book.
Just, you would.
Well, but there's a reason why, and I view this as how people view Hermione Granger. Like, we're muggles, like we don't do magic. So imagine going to a school where like magic is the norm for them, and it's like, dude, you gotta take a test on magic, and you're like, I get to mess with like all the random stuff, like, and I'm getting tested on it. Like, I thought that was really cool, especially because like you see what all the other classes are, and you're like, how are they gonna test the students?
Yeah.
Like I was looking forward to that. So.
No, I do too. When I'm reading the books and like it's not the big test yet, but they're just the smaller tests like the exams, and it's like, oh, you're being tested on how to control this animal, or you're being tested on how to make this potion. It's like, compared to us, that
sounds fun.
Yeah, like I would rather do that than sit in an English class or sit in a math class learning how to control a dragon. Or
I love class.
But you don't like tests.
They're boring to me. I'd rather be learning than proving what I learned.
Well, that's true.
That's true.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Anyway.
All right. So it's your turn.
Yeah. Thinking about what we have available in our library, we have a lot. We have books of every genre. We have DVDs. We have magazines. We have academic journals. We have theses. We have the fine press books collection. What is something in our library that you find to be notable that everybody should know about?
Notable and everybody should know about.
Or your favorite item in the book, your favorite item in the book. Not sure which book.
Yes.
No, just something notable in our library.
I would have to say, that's a good question.
Yeah, thank you.
I do enjoy the archive section.
Yeah.
I do enjoy being able to look at just our region and being able to have that archive present for us and look at our past of just specifically this area and just how it grew out and getting to know a little bit more about this, a little bit know more about that and where we're at, how this grew, how this started. And I think that archive section, for me not being too crazy about reading, I've always just found like that fascinating that we have those written archives of this area, this location, Big Bend, and just getting to know about the whole history of all of that. I think that's something that not too many libraries have. Maybe I haven't been exposed to too many, but I do really enjoy that about the Soros Library.
A lot of libraries do have an archives portion, but it's not quite as hyper-focused as ours. We have such an invaluable resource in the archives of the Big Bend, where it's not just the archives of the university, but it's archives of everything in this area, plus the national park and the state park. Like, it's just... And there's a lot more than just reading, too, right? There's tons of family photos and photos of important events. Like, I think that's a good collection to bring out because there's nothing else like it in the world. Like, it's very special.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you never know what you're going to find there.
It's a treasure trove.
Speaking of, our previous head of archivist, Melita, actually brought me in one day and said, look, I want you to look at this because I know you speak Spanish. And I was like, okay, what is it? It was a ledger that like a grocery store had back in the day. But at the back of the ledger, they had instructions on finding treasure.
What? Did you look for
That's
it?
crazy.
I mean, if we're talking about like 150 years, maybe more of like the time has passed,
You
but
don't
it was
think it'll
outlining.
still be there?
Maybe I was tempted. I was like, oh, I should go because it's like,
Let's go treasure hunting.
There's like a box full of like silver near Fabens, and I was like, are you for real? Like you were talking about, like there was like a specific cave or something that had some of that stuff too, and I was like, I highly doubt that's still there, but it'd be cool if it was.
I could use some money right now.
Some
Let's
silver.
go. Let's go. Let's go.
That's crazy.
But yeah, like
It's probably a trap, but it would be
It's
fun.
probably a trap, yeah.
Be a fun trap.
Goonies adventure. Here we go.
Oh, that'd be so fun.
Yeah.
I would love that.
No, but yeah, it's you're absolutely right on that. Bringing up the archives, it's also a very important and special part of our library.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I definitely agree.
Yeah. Well, we're nearing the end. We just have a few more questions for you. What do you love about Sul Ross State University?
What do I love about Sul Ross State University?
Mm-hmm.
So I think the answer that you've probably heard the most is the scenery. I want to say that the outside, the view, and just the experience in general Sul Ross provides is something that you won't find anywhere else. I think because the university's as beautiful as it is and very opening, it is a smaller university, so you get that personalization that you can make your experience your own here. And that's something that I've seen not found in a lot of other universities. Before I decided to come to Sul Ross, I did a lot of research in what I wanted and who I wanted to become, and Sul Ross was the best place for me to find out who I was and who I wanted to become. I have my siblings who went to other universities. I have friends. And when I tell them about the experience I have here, it's something you can't repeat, you can't recreate. I wouldn't trade it for anything. As much as I grew up in a small town of Roscoe, Texas, smaller than Alpine, and Alpine's not much bigger than Roscoe. I'm not too crazy for the small town feeling, but I wouldn't take it back at all for who I've become and the people I've met.
Nice.
Oh, what a good answer. You're so inspirational, Andrew. I love talking with you.
Heartfelt response,
yes.
definitely.
Thank you.
So you talk about how coming here definitely shaped who you became. So how would you say you're different from when you started school to how you are now as a full-blown adult?
Ooh, I don't even know if I'm an adult yet.
Okay.
I'm definitely getting there. But no, I would say I'm making that transition right now. And I would say when I first came here, I was somebody who, like Edwin said, when he first came to, when I was a tutor, I was always starting conversations, sparking that, getting to know each person. And it was because when I came to Sul Ross, I didn't know a single soul here. I didn't know anybody. And I wanted to see who I was. And I can say now that, like, I'm ending towards my master's, I can say that I know who I am now. I think I've able to see what makes me happy. I'm able to see what friends should be in my life, a genuine relationship with myself and with others, and just knowing what's good for my mental health. I can say that before I didn't know any of that. I didn't know what was good for me. I didn't know who were the good friends. And it's just a problem. I mean, I think it's a problem I'll continue to have because you're never perfect, and I'm never going to be. But I think Sul Ross has allowed me to grow and figure out who I am to the best extent that anywhere in the world could have given me. And I don't regret it at all. I think that I've become this person thanks to the school, thanks to the experience that Sul Ross allowed me to make. I made the most of it when I first came here. I was very active. I did every club and organization. I went to every event. And towards the end of it, I slowly took a step back because I figured out who I was, what I wanted to do, and that incline for figuring out who I was started to stop because I figured it out.
Nice.
Very good. Once again, very inspirational.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you.
All right, Edwin has our last question.
All right, so now with everything you told us about what Sul Ross has done for you, what about Alpine itself? What do you love about Alpine?
So I have the unique experience in being here whenever the pandemic started, and living here and living off campus and being employed through the university and through Alpine. And so I worked at a company here in town, and I was a mechanic on small machines. And you really get to know the Alpine community really fast working somewhere in Alpine because it's not too grand of a community, but it's not just Alpine that's here. You get people from Marfa, you get people from Terralingua, you get people from Presidio, you get people from Fort Davis. It's the Alpine community and Alpine in general is, I would say that it has that small town feeling to it, but it begins to feel real big once you start to look. Because when I first came here, I didn't think that I would get to know so many people, get to have so many experiences and so much things going on. But when I compare it to these small towns I've known in the past, Alpine does so much more active, has so much more going on. So it's got that small town feeling to it, but it's a lot bigger than what it seems. The size and the population isn't how big Alpine is. I think its heart is a lot bigger than its population and size. And I know that I've been here for a good couple years and I'm ready to branch out, but I still would always recommend this place to somebody to come visit, and you can make the most out of it. And it's not just that there's a lot of things that you don't know about that happen in Alpine, and it always seems like you're walking downtown and there's something going on.
Yeah.
You are just driving by and there's an event, or you're driving by and there's a group of people, a parade. It's, for the small town it's completely different from any other small town I've ever, and it doesn't feel like a small town.
That's true.
Definitely.
Yeah, I agree.
Alpine feels like the epicenter for all of these.
The Tri-County area.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. There's always stuff going on.
Mm-hmm.
Always. It's pretty easy to find something to entertain yourself with, which is really different from the small town that I grew up in, and probably different from Roscoe as well. Just, we're out here and we're entertaining ourselves.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's what you learn to do. You learn to find what makes you happy, learn what entertains you, and I found that, and I'm still finding it, but I found it, so.
That's
cool.
good. That's good.
I love that.
Never-ending search. Nice.
Yeah. Okay. Any questions for us?
So y'all asked me what my favorite books are, but I wanted to ask both of you what your favorite books are.
Go for it, Justin.
No.
No. She's refusing your
My
question.
brother is visiting this week, and I gave him a little tour of the library yesterday, and he said, "What's your favorite book in here?" And I said, "I don't know." Like, that's an impossible question for librarians and library workers, because different books mean different things to different people. Mm-hmm. Even the different people that I've been in my life, like talking about the Harry Potter series, like how special that was to me whenever I was reading it. I really love anything by Roxane Gay, but she always says that her favorite book is whatever book she's reading right then. And I think that's true for a lot of librarians and a lot of readers. Right now I've been reading a series that Kayla recommended to me, and it's okay. Sorry, Kayla.
Sorry, Kayla.
It's not bad. But it's definitely like entertainment reading. It's not anything serious. It's like fantasy, fairies and stuff. Which, I mean, there are like fantasy, like serious fantasy. I don't know. I love sci-fi. I love fantasy as a genre. Tons of fun. But these are definitely more like just fun. But I don't know. You answer and I'll think of a good answer.
All right, well, I also have a good number of books as well, so I'm going to go with the one that came to my head. It's called Skyship Academy, The Pearl Wars. Great sci-fi young adult book. One of my favorites. I'm still trying to continue reading it because it's part of like a collection as well, so I want to get back into that. But it was one of my favorite books that I was reading when I was like late high school, early community college. Very fun to read. And currently, I'm reading The Wheel of Time.
Oh.
Yeah, that one's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Like, so far, what I've been reading, and obviously, I want to like.
That's a big series, right?
Yeah, it's like a massive like 24, 25 book series.
I had a friend in college that asked me for help to steal those books from the library because he didn't want to have to pay for them, and I said, I can't help you with that. I'm sorry.
We don't do that.
No, this is a different college, but yeah.
Yeah, no, my friend who actually got the first two books for me as a Christmas gift. He told me, he's like, I recommend you read them because they're really good, and also because the show came out, and I was like, oh, okay, I want to check it out too. And what's great is that the show right now only covers like the first and I think second book, so I'm like, oh, okay, that I don't have to rush anything just yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely those are my books for now.
I'll have to look into that because if they have got y'all both your attention, then I definitely want to give my attention to that book.
Definitely.
Trying to expand my personal library.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
And right now I think the books I like are the ones that I like the books that take me on an adventure.
Yeah.
And I think that's every book, but they take you on an adventure, but you learn something about yourself as the characters learn something. And I can say that there's been some really good books that I've read about just these characters who go on a journey, and I've learned about myself through their journey, and those are the books I enjoy. I do enjoy a good book like the ones I'm reading right now, the Harry Potter books, that just take me into a different world and just take me on this journey that's just like fascinating. It's fun, and those are always good, but I do really enjoy the books that allow me to learn something about myself, because self-improvement is something that I want to do. So
yeah. Oh, before we wrap up, you're studying sports administration, so are you planning on being a coach?
Not quite.
Okay.
I do have that under my belt as something I could go into, but I think the dream would be able to go into sports journalism because
Cool.
Nice.
my degree was in my bachelor's was in communication,
Yeah.
and right now I'm studying sports administration. And as I learn to see what the classes from here on show me, I can see where I want to take it. And being behind marketing is always something I've enjoyed, and so being able to be behind sports, which I really do enjoy, I look forward to hopefully being a part of a sports organization in some sense, and to be hopefully a journalist because I do enjoy reading, I do enjoy writing, and hopefully doing that path I can reach out to as many people as I can and hopefully help them in any way that I can, even if it's just through reading or writing what I have to say.
I love that. Well, I know you'll be successful in whatever
Yeah,
you do.
no,
You're
for
such
sure,
a
dude.
good kid and such a your heart is so sweet. I was talking about this yesterday that I just think you're so kind, and I've only met you once or twice, and I'm just like, Andrew is like, he's so pure, so nice.
Thank you.
So I know you'll be successful.
Definitely.
Thank you.
you will.
That does mean a lot.
Oh, good. I'm so glad.
You will go far, indeed.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. And if you don't go far, that's okay too.
As long as I'm happy.
As long as you're
Exactly.
happy. Yes.
Exactly.
I love that. Okay. We have a little sign off, but I totally forgot it.
I forgot it too. So
I think it's something like, that was the long overdue. Be
check
sure
us
to
out.
check us out next week.
Yeah. Check us out
Something
next
like
week
that.
when it comes out.
Yeah. But thank you for coming, Andrew.
Well,
that
thank
was
you.
so nice.
It was very nice to be here.
good. Okay.
Awesome.
Cut.
Cool.
Check
So-
us out next week.
Yeah.